Hi, this is Miss Linton, and this is my wonderful still Period 1 AP Bio class. Say hi.
Hi.
And we are going to discuss Investigation 11, Transpiration. And there are really two parts to this lab that we're going to investigate. One is taking a closer look at stomata, and two, you're going to measure transpiration. And that's the part that you're going to set up not next week, but the week after, where you come in. Remember I said come in at lunch, and you're going to sign up on the sign in down there. So in this lab, the first thing we're going to be looking at is a closer look at the stomata. This slide I made by painting the underside of a leaf. Ooh, why would stomata be on the underside of the leaf? Okay, less direct sunlight so that I don't lose too much water due to transpiration. So that would be an adaptation. And you paint it with fingernail polish, you let it dry, just a little bit of clear, then you stick on a piece of tape, and then you pull the tape off, and then take that tape and stick it on a microscope slide, and then you can see what it looks like on the underside of the leaf. And each one of these are guard cells, and then this is the opening right here. Now, the funny thing is I took my phone and took a picture of it, and I thought it was like amazing. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that with my phone. And I will tell you that I thought it was 1 in a million, and I tried it 50 more times and I never got the shot again. When you do it, it is so funny. The first time I showed this, like literally every group in the class was able to get the same shot, okay? So you'll be able to do this as well in order to see it, but at the moment I got this one, I thought it was miraculous. And you can then count the number of stomata in your field of view, okay? So you'll count how many you have, and that is part of the lab, okay? So the process, you make your polish thin, you wait for it to dry, you try not to catch any air bubbles, and then you peel it up. And then these are some other pictures. Those would take a little more time to count. And you're going to record that. If you look in your lab map, I'm trying to look at my lab map. It's very slowly. Okay, so if you look at your lab map, I have linked in here several different things are all located in this one spot here at the top. A PDF of the lab book is here at the top. The rubric for your lab is next. Over to the right, the process of finding stomata. Bozeman has a really good video on that. And also, there's another video about a different way of measuring transpiration. What I'm going over with you right now in PDF, if you want it, it's here. And then this is data we're going to be collecting on the second part. So that's what all the links are. Okay? And so I'm going to come back to the top in a minute, but if you look right here at table 1, you're going to be looking at your field of view, 3 different views, and averaging how many stomata that you see. And you're going to calculate it in centimeters squared, and I explain those calculations here, which I'm happy to go over with you next time as well. But I wanted you to know this in order to be able to do your lab write-up. This looks 10 times harder than it actually is, okay? But I will go over it with you next time. The second part of your lab and the calculations that you see, I've spelled out here as well. But I'll go over it with you in class, and here are your field of views. The second part of the lab, if you read the lab book, there's several different ways to measure transpiration. I have done them all. This is the easiest way. You take your plant and you weigh it. You put it in a cup. You expose it to different conditions. Sunlight, continuous sunlight, where the light is always shining on it. Wind, I have little fans to represent the wind. Humid conditions, you put a baggie over it and spray the baggie with water. It's very humid, rainforest. We can make a hypothesis. Where do you think you're going to get the least amount of transpiration? In the humid. Where do you think you might get the most? The sunlight or potentially the wind. Okay? So you're going to, in your lab station, create these different environments You're going to weigh your plant initially. You're going to come in the next day and weigh it again. You're going to come in the next day and weigh it again, and the fourth day you'll weigh it again. And you'll look at your total change. Any change in the plant mass is going to be due to water, water transpiration, which would be water loss, right? Water loss. So you don't keep watering your plant because then you wouldn't know what happened, right? So you have your initial time you get the plant and you plant it, and you can water it then. I'd rather we didn't all water them all so we're all at the same amount of water. You'll just weigh it, okay? And then every day you'll weigh it. The only thing that's going to change that plant's mass is how much water it has lost. And so you're going to make a hypothesis that if I do this, then this will happen because. And we will sign up for different conditions. Some of you will do mist, some of you will do light, and some of you will do fan. And then you will share a control. The issue is I need to have in each class at least 2 of each of those variables. Some we can have 3 of, but within each class. And we're going to report all of our data report all of our data from both courses, okay? And so there's a course shared document, that was that link, okay? And so what do you need to know in order to set up your lab, okay? On your lab map, you don't know your hypothesis yet because we haven't assigned, okay? So you don't have to write out your if-then, but you can certainly be thinking about it. And you can You can do the driving question, and like I said before, you can go directly into your lab notebook, or you can go on a piece of paper if you're afraid your lab notebook might get messed up. But you can answer the driving question, or not, I mean, you can write it out. The background, you will get this from I want you 4 sentences explaining A, B, C, and D. You can leave space for your hypothesis because you haven't been assigned a variable yet. You could identify your constants and control. We're going to have 1 plant per every team of 2. You will have a control plant. You'll share a control, and that's not going to, it's just going to sit in the room. And we will keep all the controls up at the front underneath the lighting conditions of just the room. And we'll use that as our basis of comparison. You can set up your flow chart to, let's see. You know what? Why don't you do this for me? Because I don't want you to have to redo anything. Why don't you do your background on a piece of paper, have that done, okay? Background on a piece of paper, and this, just write it on a piece of paper, okay? And do table 1, because we're actually going to get those results, and then you can wait on the rest, okay? Background in table 1. I'll change that in the instructions. Just put that on a piece of paper. And then, because I'll show you the plant so you can see it a little bit better on how you're going to set it up. Just background and table 1. And then we'll set this part up next time once you see the plant so that way you can draw it correctly. All right? Okay. We're not setting our plants up next class. We're just doing the stomata. Okay? And I'll explain this more next class. Hopefully that will get you started.